League of Legends is a unique game because the game starts before the actual game starts. What I mean by that is that while the pregame lobby doesn't mean anything in a game like Call of Duty, it's actually extremely important in League of Legends. Games are lost every day because people aren't active during Champion Select, and for me personally, people not responding to their teammates in the lobby is incredibly annoying. So today I want to give you all some tips or things you should be doing during Champion Select to increase your chances of winning. Being active in the chat is probably the biggest tip I can give you. And yeah, okay, that's a pretty obvious one, but it goes beyond telling your team what role you want. For starters, be specific in what roles you want. Don't just say, support please, at the very least you should say jungle and support, but your best option is saying something like jungle over support over top. That way, if multiple people call it jungle, it doesn't cause problems because you can simply go to the next row on the list and no one gets confused. Personally, I always say fill except AD because I don't have a huge preference, but the important part is to just be clear and leave open more than one option. But being active in Champion Select doesn't end there. With everyone calling out their preferred roles, someone needs to mediate and decide who's going where. For example, if your lineup looks like this, then you should be able to sort them out by their strengths into the following: Player 1 mid, Player 2 top, Player 3 jungle, Player 4 AD, and Player 5 support. Of course, everyone doesn't always get the role they prefer most, but at least everyone is getting the role that they're comfortable playing. And obviously, this is a very neat example and it won't always be like this, and it won't always be this simple, but you get the point. And yet we're still not done communicating with our future team yet. Discussing team comps and counters is okay, but you have to be careful on how you do it. You don't want to force someone onto a champion that they don't know how to play just because the champion is overpowered or is a counter to someone on the other team. Something that I commonly say to teammates is, just play whatever you're comfortable with, because ultimately that's the most important thing. If you're more comfortable on jungle Heimer than jungle Jarvan, then by all means play Heimer. You'll probably do better than you would on Jarvan if you don't know what you're doing. That being said, there's no harm in giving some friendly advice if you're confident in what you're saying. For example, if someone on your team wants to play Zed versus Jax top, you might want to urge them against it, or at the very least tell the jungler that top is going to need a lot of help. The last bit of communication involves what you want to do at the beginning of the game. Do you want to invade? Do you want to set up for counter invade? What buff is the jungler doing first? If you're the jungler, what lane are you going to gank first? What lane are you going to camp? If you're the support or AD, do you want to play aggressively or passively in lane? Do you want to wait until level 2 and then all in? Do you want to shove the lane early on or let it shove onto you? I could go on forever, but there are a ton of things that you can talk about. There's no point in wasting all the extra time you have to discuss strategy at Champion Select by sitting idle and doing nothing. Outside of communication, there are still a few things you can do to give you an advantage. While you're still at Champion Select, it's useful in some situations to check the LoL King of your teammates. For example, when I play support, I always check the LoL King of my AD to see if he actually plays AD or not. If he does, then I know that he at least understands the mechanics of the lane, and I can count on him to follow up on what I'm doing, typically allowing me to play more aggressive than normal. If he doesn't, then I'm probably going to play a bit more passive and play to his strengths instead of creating my own game plan. If I notice that he's looking to play aggressive, then I'll play aggressive. If he's looking to play passive, then I'll play passive. Generally speaking, if I'm supporting someone that doesn't know how to play AD, then I'll pick something like Janna to keep them as safe as possible, and maybe put a small buffer on their bad positioning. AD players aren't the only ones I check though. I almost always check the jungler because they're an incredibly important part of the team. I want to know if they're competent enough to know when to counter gank or if I should be more passive in my lane. If I'm the jungler, I check everyone because I want to know which lanes I need to help or which lanes are the best to snowball. Some people might consider this a bit obsessive or overkill, but League is a game of inches, and every inch you get is going to help you win the game. The last tip is to use the amazing scouting website that is LoL Nexus. If you don't know about it, I highly suggest you check it out and start using it. It allows you to see everything you want to know about every person in the game. Pre-made status, their rank, how many games they have on the champion they're playing, the KDA on that champion, and their runes and masteries. If I'm honest, I think it's a really unfair advantage, but while it's there, you might as well use it. After seeing their runes and masteries, you're able to tailor your starting items and playstyle to counter theirs. For example, if I see that the enemy supporter is going for a really greedy GP10 build and 21 points into utility, I'm going to be playing super aggressive and be punishing them for it. If the AD is greedy and isn't using lifesteal quints, I'm going to be harassing the hell out of them. If I'm playing a soul lane or I notice that the enemy jungler and person I'm laning against are duo together, I'm definitely going to play a little bit more passive because I'm probably going to get camped. Simple adjustments like that give you such a huge advantage, so I highly suggest checking out LoL Nexus because, yeah, it's pretty unfair. Anyway, that's all the tips I have for you all. I hope this helps some of you out or maybe change your perspective on how to gain advantages in this game. I honestly believe that if you're not doing any of these things, you can climb at least 3 divisions by simply applying these strategies. But that's it for me, guys. Thank you all for watching, good luck in your games, and I'll see you all next time.